Welcome, business people. Welcome to the second interview of Back to Business Action series of interviews with entrepreneurs. The main purpose of Back to Business Action interviews is to hear from entrepreneurs about the solutions that they are implementing in their businesses in these intensive and challenging corona times.
Hi from me as well, I welcome you, and I'll be supporting host with Ayla in this conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Supporting co-host.
Co-host.
Today with us is Djordje Maricic from Serbia, our dear friend and partner facilitator. Djordje is the owner, he's also an entrepreneur and the owner of agency for personal and organizational development. And practically he's been working with people, business people, companies and teams for the past 10 years. Djordje, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to talk to you in this format as well with you, Ayla and Amira.
Yeah.
I was so I mean, you were the literally one of the first people that I saw on LinkedIn that went immediately into action, and that is one of the reasons why I wanted to for you to share your experience in these corona times. But before we go into the topic, I have one question for you. Your agency is called Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what is the secret bit behind the name? What does it mean and what does it symbolizes for you?
Been asked that question quite some time, and there are basically two main reasons. Before I answer it, I would just like to add, which is maybe a better description of me in the sense of people understanding who are they watching, who is your guest today. I find my role first as trying to be a human being, trying to be a good parent, trying to find good in people. We have 2 kids. Of course, I have to be a good husband, because without being a good husband, I doubt I would be seeing my kids. I'm trying really hard to be a good partner, a good business partner, a good friend, etc., etc., etc. So all that comes later on. And this is what enabled me to run Maverick Consulting for the last 10 years. Why Maverick? Well, that now comes together with it, because Maverick, when I looked at the meaning of the word, it kind of describes my life path, my life endeavors. I usually pick some unusual ways.
Oh.
I'm not, yes, I do put a shirt, a tie, a suit on, etc., like many other people do.
Well, it's becoming more and more unusual. So
well, could be. But when it comes to life decisions, when it comes to some business decisions, it's not very common. So I do take a lot of chances and take some risks. And the first reason behind it was kind of my friend, and I could also call him to some extent my mentor, Kevin Daly. He's an American who lives in Vienna for the last 25 years. Well, 20 plus years, almost 25. I was supported and guided by him to start developing this business, and still am to some extent. And we also, in some situations, support each other as well. One day when we decided to just change the name of the company that was firstly founded as KFT Consulting. He said, make it something more personal, make it something more like you. And I started to think about that. What is more like me? So what is something that we don't have much here? Maverick. So yes, it goes kind of like Maricic, which is my last name. And that clicked to me as well, that when I studied in the US, my best friend there told me, because he knew about my broadcasting on air talent, I'm sorry, on being an on-air talent in Serbia before going to get my bachelor's degree in the US. He told me, hey, if you ever become a TV host in the US, you'll have to change your name, because I don't want to pronounce that Djordje Maricic. So you'll change your name to George Maverick. And I said, you know what? Because I insisted that everyone calls me Djordje, not George. I said, you know what? If I become a TV host on American TV, I'll change my name to George Maverick, no problem. So
you waited until CNN contacted you?
Pardon me?
So you waited until CNN contacted you, or was it CNBC?
Yeah. So those are two sides of it. One is definitely that I don't choose a path that it has already a trace of others going through it, and there is this personal part of it where a friend of mine said, you know, if you're going to change your name. And another thing that was behind it is also that my goal was to try to make it more international agency, or a more international kind of business, so we can provide services wherever. It doesn't matter where our clients are, that we can do that, which we're actually doing in the last, I don't know, well, pretty much since we were founded. But yes, we're doing it and looking to spread more.
I knew that you had a personal story behind it. I mean, I googled the Maverick meaning, and it said on Google that it's a person who takes a person with unorthodox views, or like unusual views. So we've known you for like since last year, I believe, and
almost a year.
Yes, and now that we know you a little bit more, I would say that it's like totally goes with you. I mean, we have so many things in common. We are both in business, helping people work together better, and also helping companies, let's say, have an amazing team that they have that works, and also to make more money, of course. So how this situation, I mean, I already said that you were one of the first people who actually took some concrete action steps. You started interviewing also people on LinkedIn. You started
and elsewhere.
Yes, and you also you wrote daily one or more posts on LinkedIn offering advice and concrete examples what to do and how to make some changes in businesses.
Yeah, you weren't present that much. At least I didn't see it that much. But as the Corona time started, there was a video of your messages like every day, and it was like short and sweet and quite concrete. You know, for especially at the beginning when the fear and panic was, let's say, overwhelmed in the area.
And that is probably one of the things that I like most about this Corona times, is that people who who maybe were a little bit in the shadows before, or maybe they didn't, they put their focus in other fields. They had a different strategy, or somehow now they are really opening up and sharing their true value on social media using LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, and offering really amazing tips how to do things now. Djordje, what happened? What happened in your mind? Like, can you just tell us? You know, how did you see it at first, and how what inspired you to action?
Okay, so thanks. What crossed your mind when this whole thing started? Um, I think both. I mean, you're parents, right? So I think all of us stopped at a very, at least for a bit, for a second, and said, "Hey, what is going on? Who is my number one priority? It's not even my kids. They cannot be my number one priority. I have to be my number one priority in order to support my kids, and that's, and my family, and that's one of the things, you know, that those ads or not ads, instructions in airplanes, when they tell you, you know, you put your the mask first on yourself, and then you try to help others, because if you cannot help yourself, you definitely cannot help others. Mm-hmm. I've been pretty much always like that, but now I'm, I guess, older and bolder. Maybe more courageous in that sense, more open to it, with less doubt. It's maybe because of the environment we live in. I mean, the general environment, the region, the culture, etc. And my main guideline there is responsibility. And in a way that Stephen Covey described it in his book, 7 Habits of Effective People, or Very Effective People. And it says it's a
So we're having a little bit of interruption.
That's fine, I think. From on my hand, it looks fine.
Okay, so, we're back now. Mm-hmm.
So ability to respond. Ability to respond means it's being proactive versus being reactive, or just passive, right? Mm-hmm. Reactive, I understand that, of course, but first I want to be proactive, especially in this kind of situation. In the last 30 years, I don't know about your audience, but I'm sure that some of people in your audience, unfortunately, share that same experience that this region was into. It was horrible. It was, you know, and this, compared to that, from my perspective, that was my reason. This is nothing. It's a virus against people, you know. So what? Yeah. We have all the common enemy, you know. It's not people against people. So if we're responsible and do as we should, hey, we just need to wait. We don't have enough information. So I found my role. I found that my responsibility is first to share with people what is my perspective on this situation, as someone who deals also with crisis management, with communication generally, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, that was the first thing to share how I see the situation. We don't know enough, so check your resources of information. What you know for sure is this is going to end. We don't know how, but it's going to end. So at least we know it's not a everlasting situation. And second of all was, where are my skills? Where's my experience? Where does it come from? What can I harvest from all previous jobs, experiences, talents, and whatever not? I mentioned earlier, I was in broadcasting industry, on air or in front and behind camera for, let's say, about 10 years as well. So I know how to structure a message. I know how to talk to camera. I know how to talk to audience. So my responsibility is first to inform people that, hey, don't panic. We don't know what this is good enough. So let's just focus on ourselves. Let's just reorganize our daily habits, our daily routines, because things are changing, right? Let's just be aware that nothing's going to be the same. It's going to be a new normal. This is a phrase that people are using now. A new normal when this ends. And let's see what we can do for ourselves first and for our community. So our family first, community, and our business. And this is how I came also to, we need to support our partners. We need to support people that need support. We should also support, and a friend of mine, a colleague of ours, Marilena Maris, who is a Romanian living in Vienna, she's doing something also great. She's doing free consulting for all people without job, who lost their job due to coronavirus crisis. So she's doing free consulting to everyone who lost their job because of layoffs initiated by some organizations due to corona crisis.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
That's all I can say. My perspective was, when I started, let's support everyone, you know, because we don't know if anyone who feels that they need support, but first in line were our key accounts, as we call them, or our key stakeholders. So first off was our team.
Okay.
See if they need something, which comes after my family, of course. Then our team, then our biggest clients, or I like to refer to them as partners because we work together. And then, yes, everyone. Why? Because we, at least the perspective was, this is all new for all of us. Okay. And we're all in this together, and only by listening, communicating with each other, we can learn from each other what's going on in Bosnia, for example, what's going on in Serbia, what's going on in Croatia, in Hungary, in the US, in wherever. Maybe there are some things that we share, maybe there are some problems that we share, maybe there are some that are very different. And maybe through this conversation, we can learn something from each other and apply it to our business or to our daily lives. And one of those things is definitely, you know, it's one thing what you put on paper, like I have it here. And the other thing is, how much stuff did you actually do? Especially during this time of crisis. So,
but tell me this: how were you? I mean, the things that you can. How were you affected? How much of your work was happening on the way, like traveling and doing and so on? What was canceled? What and
kept working?
Yeah, and what's still there? How much of your work did you do online and is now possible to do from home?
Okay, I mean, I'll do some reverse engineering kind of. You remember, you said you watched some of the videos that we've posted earlier, right? And you saw a nice background behind me, right? Now you don't see it. Why? Because I'm at home, isolation.
It's still nice background. You're just missing the drawings on the walls. I don't know how big your kids are, you know, but Man, you must be a strict father. You know?
So in the office, we made kind of a virtual studio. So as I said, I try to, you know, harvest all the potential that we have and make the best out of it. This is why I also initiated something similar to you, to talk to people and to try to engage as many people as we can, just to brainstorm together. And when I say I'm sitting at home, like many of us, I'm sitting for one reason only. I was late for one day to enter Serbia. In the sense of, for Serbia, whoever entered Serbia on March 14, we have to stay at home for 14 days or 2 weeks plus 2 weeks. And I was traveling for business to Hungary to support one of our partners or one of our clients who has partners in Hungary. Then from Hungary, I went to Croatia to see our client in Zagreb. And then from Croatia, I was traveling to, and that was actually exactly 1 month ago when I went to, when I started this trip. Then from Zagreb, I drove to Jajce to see a client. And on March 12th, they said definitely we're canceling the workshop we have on Friday 13th of March.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the first hit in the sense of like, okay, plans are changing. When are we gonna do this next? You know, what's going on there? What are we gonna do? Okay, well, anyway, I had a scheduled meetings in Sarajevo, so I went to Sarajevo, but I decided to stay overnight. So I lost that one day when I was supposed to, or it potentially I was able to avoid this and then do all my work from the office, so you don't hear my kids in the back noise. And from there on, a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, of course, a lot of reaching out, first to, you know, your closest circle, and then also to pretty much everyone all over, to see how people are feeling and how people are thinking, and to see what we can learn from each other. We already implemented one part of the program online for one of our clients, doing some. We talked about it, the needling brain instruments, the psychometric evaluation of thinking preferences. So that went well. It was the first time we did it in such a way, so that went well. But it's a lot of learning experience during this time, and I find it very rewarding, actually. So we used Zoom for the last, I don't know, a year or longer than a year, but we never had to use it this way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now
it's daily on.
Yes, it's the frequency and it's the features that you need or that you're using. So yes, it's challenging. Where we're looking now, the biggest challenge is to actually forecast when can we try to reschedule what has been postponed or canceled.
Yes.
How can we continue our activities? So what we're trying to do now is definitely stay in touch with our partners, check on them regularly, produce content that we think could bring value to some, if not to everyone. Hopefully yes, but you know, and with this, it's just keeping the business running. It's not easy. We luckily, I can say, okay, some costs are being cut in the sense of traveling, but we'll see. You know, it's what I hear a lot. People are waiting to see what their boss is going to do, or what the owner of the company or the corporation is going to do or decide, and then what the government's going to do or decide. I cannot say that I don't care, but I don't care, if you know what I'm saying. So because I cannot.
We just had the conversation.
Pardon me?
We just had that conversation this morning, discussing on some of the initiatives towards the government and why we didn't do anything, you know, thinking of ourselves as proactive people, as you say, Stephen Covey mentioned in the book and so on. But as we discussed, it's not our call. It's not for us to like sit and wait for somebody else to save our asses, you know. And
this is exactly how we can also understand what happened to us or started to happen to us 30 years ago. You know, I don't care if we would live in the same country or different countries, but we wouldn't have, you know, what we had. If
we had waited, yeah.
Yes, and this is another learning experience that we can have, you know, every day. If you're waiting for someone else to make decisions for you, then you cannot control what's going to happen at all. But if you try to be responsible, if you are doing your best to show ability to respond to this situation, then you're doing the best you can to at least have some control of what's going to happen. If good things are happening, so if the government is going to do something good, great.
Yeah.
If not, so what?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. That I mean, Amir and I truly believe that in every situation there is something that still works. So we had a similar train of thought, you know. We took a second and we were like, okay, this is happening, and we tried on March 13th. We actually went to voluntarily. We went to let's call it isolation. Yes, we decided just to be to take some precaution, because at that time a lot of people came back to our region, work in Austria and Slovenia, Croatia, and we knew that at that point there were going to be like so many people coming. So we decided, you know, to restrict. Even though there were no measures at that time, we decided
you did your part. You did your part.
Yes, and
it was proactive at the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at that point, I mean, my biggest thought was, okay, what is my role in this? What is my responsibility? Because you can do just as much, you know. We have an almost 2-year-old. I mean, she's a toddler, and she like takes a lot of attention. So
what is your number one priority?
But well, it's us, and then it's her, and then our business.
What about you? What about you? What is your number one priority about you?
About myself or us?
Yes. First yourself, and Amir individually. What is our, so yours, Ayla, yours, Amir, and mine, what should be our number one priority in such a situation?
You know, the first days of our self-isolation, which is now like 4 or 5 weeks back, I don't even remember, it's we felt, even though a lot of people don't want to admit that, you know, but I know we felt fear at the beginning and a little bit of panic that was manifesting in some hidden symptoms or something like that. And like that was on the third day of our self-isolation. We even had a fight. You know, now we're like both of us together the whole time. And that was actually the point when we decided to like take controlled measures in order to get ourselves back on track, you know, to not to just neglect the fear and say, okay, this is okay, we're doing something, you know, and pretend we don't have it. But let's look, you know, do we feel fear? What for? What are we afraid of losing and so on? So we actually took some, I don't know if you've heard of Brendan Burchard, but he made a session available to everyone, you know, where he actually went down to the basics of the fear and talked, what is it that we're going through? And it was
understanding and accepting.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. That's it. That was it.
And it's okay. And it's okay that we feel fear.
That's right. You also mentioned in one of your videos is like consuming the news and doing it the least possible we can, and doing it from the official sources, not like going through social media and getting listening to everything everyone has to say. And we actually cut all the news and stopped.
But not all. But I mean, we took it
for
to
some
the
time.
minimum,
It was all
to the minimum, because I'm an empath. So it was truly lucky for me that, I mean, we don't usually own a TV. We don't have any TV channels. So we were cut from that part of the news, even though we talked to our family, who immediately informed us almost about everything. But for me,
it was different. It wasn't coming in that tone, you know. Dear viewers, welcome to the TV Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. 643 new cases and and so on.
Like with the,
you know,
collective...
when they build the emotion and keep it for the next 30 minutes.
Yes, that was my
hour and a half at least here.
There's another show just after the news, you know, just to like keep you in the same emotion.
Special Corona Times show. But for me,
so sorry, just to get back to what Amir was saying. First is accepting and understanding where we at, and therefore it's the first step to keeping our mental health where it should be. That's so right. We understand, we accept the situation. Now let's see what we can do.
They say there's a saying.
With this, you cannot lie even to your toddler that everything is fine.
Exactly. Do you know that saying? We heard it from our spiritual mentor. He told that clarity is the mother of calmness. So it is one of the sentences that is always in the back of my head. So whenever I felt like either scared or insecure or nervous or, you know, a little bit anxious about things, I knew that it was because I didn't see things clearly. You know, I didn't have clarity on what I should do, what I'm supposed to do, what I can do. So basically, I remember the first week we posted some things on LinkedIn, but we stayed in touch with our clients, and we were already doing some things online, like sessions and coaching. So it wasn't a big change for us, even though a lot of our events got canceled and so on. But it was the first week we really focused on getting clarity. Okay, what can we do? What do we actually want to do? And how can we help the most? And that really was
helpful.
helpful.
To align our purpose with it. Again, it's like we're not the ones who do the humanitarian work in general, you know. I don't feel that is my call in the first place, you know, but everyone should look, what is it that we feel our purpose is, and there are certainly some things that we can do to actually be within our purpose and still help others, make meaningful.
The value that we create, or each of us creates, and And if somebody else is valuing it and they're willing to pay for it, so you gave some value. And sometimes you get paid more, you get paid less, or you don't get paid at all. And it's your decision on that. And we should feel fine about it. So yes, we're not in this business for not making any money. Of course, we
Definitely
want to make money, but at least to me, money is not #1 priority. I realized that in several instances in my life, and you know, with this situation, I could think in 3 directions, and I picked one. So one direction was, okay, things are canceled. We're not online, although we were thinking and planning to get a lot of stuff online for the last 2 years. We're small compared to others with limited resources. Everyone can eat us. I better jump through the window and say goodbye to my family. So this is it. I said, I don't want to do that.
Not
Option
like,
number
not
2.
Greek style.
Nope. Option number 2 was, of course, I was exaggerating a little bit, but this
I know.
helped me.
We all went through this black scenario.
This helped me to make at least what I think is the best possible decision. Second thing is, let me, I can hibernate, you know, and just say, hey,
Watch
this
Netflix.
is just a bad dream. This is just, you know, wrong. So let's see if I can cut some costs and, you know, just try not to spend much money and stay at home and do nothing and do nothing. And when it's over, let's reopen and it's going to be same old, same old. Nope. I know that's not going to be the case, and I'm just not the guy who's going to wait there and let others make decisions. I'm fine with that in other situations, but when it's the life of mine and my family and my business, no. This is one of the reasons why I started this business. And the third option was, hey, what can you do? What can you do to stay alive? You can just get everything you have from within yourself, all the tools, all the skills, all the knowledge, all the contacts, all the what?
Love.
All the love, yes. And just share. Just share right now. Support who you can. And a great thing that comes from also a conversation I had yesterday for preparation talk with Marilena was, okay, there are just some companies that we have to charge, even now. Some we don't, but others we do charge because they have money. In this situation,
I wanted to ask you that. It's like LinkedIn is full of posts, like not completely, but there are like a lot of them who start with, these are not the times to sell.
Yeah, it's like a post to shame selling now. Like people like go have fun with your family, you know, sit on your couch, relax a little bit, you know. Now it's not time to sell and like.
But like now
you're selling, I'm selling. This, what we're doing right now is selling.
Exactly.
If we want to talk, I mean, if selling is a bad word, then we're doing a bad thing. But I don't think selling is a bad thing. I don't think selling is a bad thing, you know? I think selling is, you know, what are we selling? We're selling trust. At least I'm selling trust. So you can trust me that I'll do all my best so you can strengthen yourself, thus your business.
Yeah.
So you can prosper. Even or you could survive in this situation. This is what I'm selling. Cool. But the question, the main question there is, what are you selling and how are you selling it? because some things to sell right now, I could also find like, you know, am I gonna buy some jewelry or I don't, most likely not, you know, it's more, from my perspective, it's more now about selling your brand. What did you do for your clients, for your community? This is what you could sell, because right now, all the companies that did something significant for their employees, for their, here are my kids, for their employees, for their clients, for their partners, those are going to be remembered as companies that did something good. And their goods and their services will be valued, or will be of some value to others. So this is...
Hello.
He's gone now. When you're talking to him, he's gone. So
we just need to greet him and then he's gone.
So this is what I'm referring to selling is, what are you selling? How are you selling it? And why are you selling it? Of course, why are you selling it? Is it what value are you offering with your product or service right now? I know that you can support people to think differently, to give them perspective, to encourage them. This is one part of our responsibility, at least from my perspective, of everyone who is in coaching, in personal development, in organizational development. Let's support people to be tougher and to gain endurance for this situation, because this is going to last. We don't know for how long. It's going to last.
Maybe
and it's going to
years.
come back. And it's going to come back economically. This is now a health crisis. Now we're going to see how the economy is going to react to this. So we need to be prepared for a marathon. At least that's what I'm seeing. So if we don't work on our mental shape, on our physical shape, on our intellectual shape, I don't think that we should hope that we're gonna overcome this in any way. I mean, we might survive, but you know, our business, I doubt it.
One question for me again. I mean, when this all started, I remember my first instinct was to talk to other entrepreneurs. I mean, I was just so focused. I mean, we contacted our guests from the business breakfast meetings, and our clients and our potential clients that we were already communicating with, and people at our workshops. We contacted them and asked them, okay, so how can we help? You know, we can do free sessions. We can, I wrote a newsletter about very concrete topics or advice to focus on the team right now, and you know, how to not take these things for granted. I realized that, especially in the first week or two, there were a lot of companies who were actually a little bit bragging, like, yeah, we're used to remote, we know remote, and
nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
We have better productivity.
Yes. And one thing was being overlooked there. I mean, even though before, when people used to like work remote, they did it on their own wish, you know, voluntarily, because it was convenient for them. Like, oh, I don't want to go to the office right today.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
I don't
sit
feel
in my
like
favorite coffee shop and take safe coffee and work from
and
there.
then it was like a freedom, like a free choice. And then but this situation is not a free choice. I mean, now we are like, our freedom is limited. And I was really focusing on that. Like, it's not easy with all the collective hysteria and all these media attention, and I don't know, this overwhelming state of people. It's not easy to, you know, work the same way or keep up with the productivity. So my question is to you, how do how to stay connected, or actually a better question is how to not stay connected to your people, your clients, your team. What would you say?
How not to say, how not to stay connected.
Exactly.
Do we want not to stay connected?
No, we don't, but I'm just like reversing it. You know, we've talked, I mean, during this interview you shared a lot of great advice, you know, how to stay connected, how to talk to people, clients, and so on. You know, I'm just curious, you know, what things not to do now, or you know, just to have that different perspective.
Just for the fun, I mean, this is not the way I think, but just for fun, we can say, okay, it also depends on our priorities. You know, if we do want to stay in touch with people or don't. If we don't want to stay in touch with people, this is gone, right? So we can just shut down all communication, and we don't go out anyway. So get a book, or I don't know, or you can be rude, you know, disorganized. You could be, yeah.
Nice, 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 nice.
So you can answer your phone. So like, what do you want? Who wants to talk to a person like that?
Yeah.
I don't feel like it. I don't want to. No, no, no. Just be a negative person. I mean, it's, yeah.
You could push your employees.
If we're talking about employees, what not to do is tell them to do something that you're not doing. It's the same thing as in a normal situation, but now here the leadership skills are even more important. So if you hide information from them, if you don't tell them clearly and openly what's going on, what you're thinking, if you're not initiating brainstorming teams, if you're not asking them for their perspectives, if you're not asking them for their suggestions, if you're not open to accept some of those, if you're not considering that they might add value to overcoming this current situation, then I'm sorry, you're not.
Then
You
you're
might have enough money.
right thing to be.
You might have enough money to survive this for sure, but I'm sorry, I don't see that the future of your company is going to last for too long, or at least everyone else who is doing exactly that, putting people or getting people together, making some special teams, task teams, for resolving different kind of situations, or understanding what the business is like now, where should we go, what are our options, option 1, option 2, option 3, like, okay, how can we cut losses if this is not going good? Is this the coronavirus our chance, or let's look at it as a chance? What are our chances? What we should invest in? Do we need to shut down the business? Do we need to change the business model?
Okay.
Okay.
And we need people from within to get involved and to start doing that. And as a leader, it's the only way you should initiate that, open the conversation for it, and steer it. So, and I could say we had a similar thing, and we came to actually 2 new products right now that we initiated our network of NBI practitioners, certified NBI practitioners, to think of, hey guys, how can we add value right now, and what are the main concerns? And one of the main concerns is definitely not now, but it's going to be as well, is how we communicate digitally in a way. And a lot of people are doing it, but it's not only that right now, it's generally how do we communicate over phone, conference calls, video calls, listening skills, how do we solve problems, how do we understand our colleagues, co-workers, our customers, or should we say our stakeholders, how do we give them feedback, you know, essential skills, communication. And the other thing is, what about students? What about kids that need to choose their make one of their biggest life decisions? Which high school they want to enroll in, or which university they want to go to. So we have basically now, well, hopefully in 2 weeks we'll roll that out. A program for students so they can get, based on their thinking preferences and understanding what could go or what kind of studies are going to be easier for them, better for them, more suitable according to their thinking preferences. Because this kind of support is something that's going to be a huge concern for their parents as well. So they can also understand, you know, why certain things are going easier, why not, how they could communicate even at home, what kind of subjects are better for them or easier for them to understand, and in what way. This crisis is a chance. So we need to think, you know, and rethink a lot of things.
I know. One quick question. If you had to choose like certain skills or certain topic that leaders or teams or companies need to really focus on, like that is essential for them in these times, what would you say? What would you choose?
Communication. I mean, it's essential. The way we communicate, are we clear, to the point? Are we open and honest? Do we ask for feedback? Do we listen carefully? Do we understand what the other side is saying truly? In which sense, respect that everyone has the right for their opinion, even though we might not agree, but at least respect it, listen to it, try to understand it, and see how you can fit it and use it for going up, surviving this, or coming out as a winner, because this is, every crisis is a chance.
Definitely. That's the thing I want to ask you about. You know, you did mention some of the things, you know, but if you were, could you like narrow down the opportunities that you think entrepreneurs should be, let's say, paying attention to or looking at this moment? We all know the threats. Like that's something everybody talks about, you know. What opportunities are there? Which one do we see, and which one do you think maybe people don't see, but you could actually open up their eyes?
It depends on the industry. It definitely varies on the industry you're in. If we're talking about our industry, the great opportunity is, especially for those who've been pretty modest about their knowledge and skills, I think they're gonna rise up, because people now, especially in time of crisis, are going to value quality more than before. Because at least that's I might be wrong. And one of the biggest opportunities, at least from my perspective, is that right now all of us have a chance to try and fail and try and fail and try and fail, because it's unknown for everyone.
Exactly.
And with this in mind, there is much bigger chance that you're going to succeed.
So
Because you have to try.
the opportunity is that we around the world are becoming
Yes.
more or less equal. It's not now that England has, let's say, some undescribed advantage over Serbia or Bosnia or Romania or I don't know, United States over.
Well, globally saying, I think our region has biggest opportunity. Not financial, but again,
to rise up as something as a leader in some of the fields.
to rise up as what? I don't know. I don't care, but to rise up,
Okay.
definitely, from various perspectives. None of the Western world, especially, had the experience that we had in the last 30 years. And for us, on one hand, this is nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And compared to the crisis of 11, 12 years ago in 2008 till 2010, this is not a financial crisis. It might become one, but right now it's not a financial crisis.
Yeah.
So even in this region, there is enough money that we can survive for a certain amount of time. And we also have enough money to see how to invest smart in what's next to come.
Cool. So nice.
I think we're cautious about it, or at least some are, not to go all in, I don't know, starting to make factories for masks, because it's going to last for some time. Maybe it's going to last for a longer time, but not.
Do you think some basic production is going to move from China to Europe?
Well, a lot of people are saying that some of the basic production will move to Europe, and hey, you know, we already produce a lot of things. We have good workers. Plus, I think it might be even an opportunity. This is what I would love personally, that the region connects even more just because of it. Because with this, we can create more value for ourselves first, and then for our consumers, anyone else in the world. And I can see the opportunity in connecting the region. We all talk, when we want to, we all talk the same language. You know? So we can, when I say the same language, English, so we can understand each other, right?
English, right?
Yes. So it doesn't matter which language we use, it's the matter of being willing to understand each other. And this is also a huge advantage, perspective, that if we connect well, then us and to anyone else. So the opportunity is actually, I believe, I see that way, more for us. We have the experience of extreme life conditions, and in that sense, you know, we're not hungry right now. There is nothing, nobody's shooting, no bombs, no nothing, you know, in that sense.
There's electricity, internet. There's electricity, internet,
yes, water, internet, we can communicate like this, you know.
Chocolate.
But for other countries, this is a huge problem. You know, for other I mean, other Western world, this is much bigger problem.
Exactly. Do you think that once this is over, whether it's in like 2 months or 6 or 3 years, I don't know, do you think we will be more united and thinking from the perspective of, you know, the virus is the one who caused this, you know, and now it's over, and let's do some work, you know. Do you think we will be motivated to do more work, or will people be lagging in some of the motivational points or whatever, you know? Will be coming out with the scars?
Well, I think it's more individual kind of thing. I'm not a psych to tell you, to be able to tell you, hey, what's going to be. I wish I was. It would be easier for me, my family, and I'm willing to share. So with pretty much all the good people that like to share good in themselves. But well, there will be some scars. There will be some, you know, success. I mean, even this is with a lot of scars. You guys shared your scars already, with frustration that you felt. Even you mentioned that you had a fight. So, you know, but scars are there to remind us and to learn from them. Cool. To remind us of what happened, and to see, you know, okay, if you act like this, you might get hurt. So in the future, just be careful. And what's the learning curve I've got here? And I see a lot of people are sharing on the internet, you know, when this is over, if you didn't learn at least one new skill or at least something new, then, you know,
okay, let me just,
we don't need to comment on that, but
let me then, like, there are so many things, and there are so many things on the other side that I would like to ask you more, but you know, let's respect the time limit. Let's say this is over in a month, and
okay,
everything is, let's say, in a certain way back to normal, or let's say May, middle May, whatever, you know.
Okay.
What regret would you, Djordje, have for not doing in this period when you were at home? What do you think will be on the table? What will you say? Oh, I had so much time, you know, and I didn't do this.
I think I'm trying to do pretty much everything right now. Maybe more exercise, and maybe eating smarter. Maybe more, but maybe I can't right now. You know, maybe I'm also overwhelmed with everything.
You know that once this is over, we will have a different mind, and then we will think.
Of course.
Like a lot of people will be thinking, you know, oh, I had this opportunity. I could have learned German or English or another skill, something, you know. And
I think I'm doing it. I think I'm doing it the best I can right now, and that's the thing.
Cool.
And I've learned that also I shouldn't regret. I just need to see if I can do something, what it is, and start doing it. Is it going to be the best right now? Actually, I don't care. A friend of mine said, "Hey, make it quick and dirty. You know, it doesn't matter. You just need to come up with things. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know. So don't be a perfectionist right now. Just produce value and then shape it. Then you have enough time to make it perfect for the time when this is over." So
I love when you said that you are selling trust, and now that you are doing your best, and it's also the hashtag of your interview talks. I love it. It's like hashtag do what you can do, right?
Do what you can. Yes. What
you can.
Yes.
And right now, I mean, I'm saying for us, we are like at least from 30 to 50% of our time, we are doing free sessions, either business sessions for startups, or for even for our potential clients that were before but now got affected by the situation. Now we decided to provide them free sessions just to start things, and or keep things going, or we are doing career consulting or whatever. But you know, before it was, we did free stuff, we did maybe 10%, but we significantly increased this because we want to contribute more. And now we believe that there are so many people who actually need help, but they are just not, they're like too much affected with this, and they cannot invest in these services, but still they need that kind of help.
Especially this is the time when it's like not people don't feel ashamed to say I don't know,
Exactly.
and I need to be consulted. You know,
Yes.
as in prior times, that was
I don't need this
sign of weakness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell us what, I mean, you already shared that you are doing also free sessions. Tell us what you are doing now, and you know, what is our what is your actually free contribution, or you know, how can our audience find you to talk to you or consult with you, either free or in a paid version?
Well, thanks for asking that as well. If we're selling anything, it's selling trust, conversation, right? And through actions. I assume that you will be putting something on as our contact, maybe our LinkedIn page or our Facebook page there as well, so people can reach us there. And what can they expect? It's first off, we want to listen and understand what are their challenges right now, and we can start from there. So basically, let's see where we're at right now and where you want to be, so we can maybe prioritize together and see where our focus should be. And this is the main point. If we're talking about companies that recognize that it's important to invest in their people right now, which I think now it's even more important, especially in the way they communicate, then yes, we can support them to strengthen, especially the middle management, because there is a lot of pressure on them to manage their teams, but also how they're being managed, and to manage their family. A lot of those middle management people, gals and boys, they're having families, you know, and they have small kids and they're working from home. So it's not easy to handle all of that at the same time. Plus, you need to run the business or run your team, run projects, etc., etc., etc. So
they have fear for them. They have fear for themselves, for their family, for the health, and for the well-being, like in general, for the financial.
Just overwhelmed generally, you know, and a lot of pressure there. You know, and the workload is even bigger. And if you want to survive these 2-3 months or whatever we have, we don't want them to be burned out. So that's definitely where we can also support people on support companies. And one of the main things that we use is, first of all, understanding own thinking preferences, because it is the key. When you understand yourself and explain yourself to yourself better, then you can communicate to others. And
now for the end, tell us when is your next, you are hosting also business talks on LinkedIn, right?
Yes, we do Zoom talks as well. I'm hosting business talks. That's what we call them, the business on COVID-19. It has a business talk. Business is talking the perspective of business. So that's one thing that we're doing, and I'm hosting that.
Who is your next guest? And when
my next guest is Marilena Maris tomorrow, which is Friday, April 10. And then the following week, we'll talk again with Aaron Teppel-Deckard from the US, Next Element Company, on April 14 and 16. And we're also planning to bring some historians, some business people as well, to exchange perspectives, just to see, you know, how people are actually thinking and what can we put in which context, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you so much for doing that. You know, I think it's going to be, and it is very helpful to the community and the world in general, you know. So it's like not only that you're selling trust and taking initiative and so on, you know, but it's like a lot of very concrete ideas and opportunities come out of that.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me to be your guest.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, we've had, I knew this was going to be probably a longer talk than we usually do, but it was so amazing and so valuable that I really didn't want to cut anything off. So thank you very much for sharing openly and so honestly. And I believe that is one of the true, that is really, valuable to hear from an entrepreneur who is not like just, you know, sharing the best things, but also sharing the real things that is happening right now, feeling fear and, you know, searching for answers and solutions, and, you know, just doing what we can.
So and thank you, thank all your viewers. I just want to say for my last words is just stay home, stay healthy, use your brain. There is a lot going on in there. Play. Just ask yourself, what can you do for yourself, for your family, for your business? And I'm sure that you're going to come up with something good, because every crisis is an opportunity. And this now is the best time to, you know, just unleash your full potential.
That's right.
Exactly.
Wow.
Thank you very much. We will put the your contacts on here in the video. Thank you, Djordje, for being our guest. Thank you all for viewing this. Share your feedback or your questions here in the comments or in PM. And thanks again for watching.
See you on another round of Back to Business Action. Bye-bye.